Hi, my name is Sonia. I'm a local realtor for the GTA. I do have a focus in Toronto West, so areas like Etobicoke, and I also have a focus in Mississauga in areas like Malton. So today I wanted to talk about a buyer representation agreement. So formally it is known as Form 300. Informally, and through the industry standard, we call it a BRA. So a buyer representation agreement, there's a lot of controversy behind it. And I think that the controversy behind BRAs is relevant and it's due, especially on the part of a buyer who is asked and usually required to sign one. I think that, the hesitation with a buyer representation agreement comes from one, not knowing fully what you're signing. I think that a lot of times, anytime I've spoken to anyone who has previously worked with another agent, all their hesitation came from just not being sure. And as a professional, it is my job to make sure that my clients know what they're signing. And if they're not comfortable signing it, having it removed and putting something else in that makes more sense for them. So I think the hesitation there, because it's just very muddled as to what the BRA is meant to do. And I also think that the second reason for a lot of the hesitation with the BRA is because a BRA is very one-sided. I'll be the first one to say a buyer representation, the standard document, really is in the benefit of the agent. It's not in the benefit of the buyer. So having been on the buyer side, having not been the agent but been the buyer, I know from personal experience, why am I going to sign this? I understand the concept of signing a contract. I understand the concept of committing to the professional that I'm choosing, but why is it so one-sided? And so that was really what led me to create a BRA that is specifically used by me for my clients. And that's really what drove it. I needed something that really met myself and my clients halfway. I didn't feel comfortable asking people to sign something that really did not have any benefit for them, because my entire business in real estate is basically built and created on adding value to people. People use me because they know that they're going to walk away with a great investment. They know that they're going to walk away with feeling good about their choice, and they know that they're going to walk away having been educated on everything that they signed, the entire process from start to finish. And they know that I would have taken care of them well. So I will explain at some point the difference between the BRA that standard agents will ask you to sign, as well as the BRA that I have opted to begin using, and I think that you will see the benefit in it, and I hope by the end you will definitely be able to make a clearer decision on whether or not you will sign a BRA. And I hope that you also have a clear idea of why a lot of really good and strong agents are going to require you to sign a BRA. So I just want this to be very candid. I just want it to be a little bit of a conversation here, so I'm not going to have a lot of edits here through, but I do have a few notes and points that I want to touch on. So what is a BRA? So a BRA, it's a contract, and it's a formal contract. So the real estate industry in Ontario completely acknowledges a BRA as a formal document, and this contract really is between the brokerage itself and the seller. So it's formally saying that you as the buyer. So it's formally saying that you as the buyer have acknowledged that you want this person or this brokerage to be your professional that will take care of your best interests throughout the purchasing transaction. First and foremost, do you have to sign one? No. It is not law to have to sign one. And the other thing is, do you have to buy? Are you obligated to buy after you've signed a BRA? And the answer is no, absolutely not. So that question, I think, is one of the points where I feel like there was a bit of confusion. There, people get hesitant because they think, okay, well, I know I want to buy, but what if I don't end up buying and I signed a BRA? Now I'm stuck having to buy. That is not what a BRA is. A BRA is specifically just outlining that you have chosen this particular professional to be your professional and represent you if you so choose to buy. It does not tie you down to have to buy. So if at any point you decide, you know what, it's not the right time for us to buy, the BRA is irrelevant. For the most part, I would say that another issue that I find people are hesitant about is the length of contract. So when you ask about BRAs and you get a lot of hesitant people saying, oh no, I wouldn't sign a BRA. It's just a way for an agent to tie you down for years and years. And if you sign with them, then they're your agent for life. And I would absolutely say if you find an agent that you really like to work with, you should absolutely use them for life. They should not be tying you into a contract for life. It should be a choice. So standardly, if you are signing a BRA that is exceeding 6 months, you're going to have to initial that you are agreeing to sign for 6 months. So what that means is a standard BRA is less than 6 months. Anything more than that, you are going to have to initial, as well as the agent is going to have to initial to say we're making this contract much longer. If you have an agent that is asking you to make the BRA longer than 6 months, are they a bad agent? Absolutely not. It is case by case. You have some deals that really do take a long time to close. You have some buyers that are saying, I want to buy, but there's a lot of things mixed up in that transaction. There may be instances where there's family issues, and that buying isn't just going to be, well, I see the house today and I'm going to buy it tomorrow. You know that there's going to be contracts and paperwork that has to be approved, and there are certain deals perhaps that are tied into a longer length to close it. So your agent will know that, especially your professional that really has a good grasp on what it is that you're looking to do and your situation. But for me, I really make it a point to work with buyers. I think a ready buyer, is someone who is ready to purchase in anywhere from 30 to 60 days. Definitely 30 days. I would say anywhere from 30 to 45 days you are ready to buy. And what that means is when I say, hey, if we find the right house, if we're ready and we see the house that you want, you see what you want, are you willing to put in an offer? Right away. That lets me know that you're ready. So for me personally, do I sign buyer representations that last longer than 6 months? No. And that is because I personally do not work with anyone who thinks that they're going to be taking 6 months to decide on the property they want. It's just not the way that the market is set to operate and function best. Our market right now, as you know, there are still multiple offers happening. There are still situations where the bank is going to pre-approve you for an amount, and a pre-approval is amazing. This is also something that I offer my clients, is the ability to have the best mortgage agents come up with the best mortgage rate possible for you. So having a pre-approval really gives you that upper hand. It really gives you that leverage to know how much you can spend. Having the pre-approval is really how you control what you're going to be spending monthly. So talking to a really good mortgage rep, you should be able to say to them, hey, look, I don't want to spend more than X amount every month. And at that point, they're going to be able to tell you, all right, well, this is what you're going to need to purchase in, let's stay in that budget. So at that point, if you're thinking that you're going to want to have to look around for 6 months, I'm thinking you're not ready to buy. And that is totally okay. Some people really need to take a little bit of extra time to make decisions. And I think that is a different procedure. That then becomes, let's stay in touch. How about we start to get to know what it is you're looking for? How about I set, a schedule alarm to say, all right, you know what? It's getting close to the time. Let's get you in contact with the mortgage reps that I have that are going to get you an amazing bank rate. So that's a different route that I take with people that aren't quite ready to buy and they're thinking it's going to take them longer than a couple months to purchase. Those aren't people that I will push under the rug. It's just I will take care of them in a different way until they're ready to get into that mode of, okay, you know what? This month we're going to buy. We're ready to buy. Everything's in position. So in terms of length of contract, you may have agents that decide that they are going to ask you to sign for longer than 6 months. At that point, you will have to acknowledge on the contract that you're signing for longer than 6 months. I personally do not do that because, like I said, I only work with people who are agreeing that they are going to be ready to buy in the next 1 to 2 months. So there's another sort of muddled unsurety, which is a commission clause in the BRA. So the commission clause basically says that standard commission, and keep in mind that commission in Ontario for real estate is 100% negotiable. But there is standards. So what that means is generally you'll hear 2.5 being the standard for each professional involved. With that being said, 2.5 is the standard, but you will find some people offering less or more. Okay. And this is a tip for sellers. If you are selling your house and you are offering a commission, which is most likely that you will be, really try not to go beneath the standard. And I only say that because, you know, there are people who will see your property and see that it's offering less than standard commission, and by coincidence, by chance, your home gets pushed to the bottom of the showing pile. Your home is the one that somehow they just never make it to the showing. Somehow, things just happen, and that house, oh, we just can't get into it. Or, we saw the house, oh, I don't think that's a good buy. And you will have professionals coach their clients to not go with your house because you're offering less commission. That is not something that I do. That's not a practice that I think is ethical, but it happens. So really and truly, if your professional is advising you that you really should offer the standard commission at minimum, understand that they are doing that not because it benefits them. That commission is not offered to them. It's offered to the buyer representative. But really, they understand that the more people you have coming in gives you a better chance to get a better offer on your home. So really keep that in mind for sellers. But we'll get back to the buyer representation agreement. So the commission clause outlines that if by chance we find a property while we're house hunting for you, if by chance that property happens to be offering less than the 2.5 standard commission, that means that you as the buyer now have to pay me whatever the difference is. Yeah, I think that is a little bit unfair. And I think that is also why people are very, very against signing buyer representation agreements. So, my whole thing and my take on that in my buyer representation agreement, I strike that out. I strike it out. I initial it to show that I am not going to enforce that. And I have my client initial to acknowledge that I said I will not enforce that. And I think that, that does create a little bit of a risk for me. I understand that we may land on a property that my client is just absolutely like head over heels for, and that's the one that they want to go with. And by chance, they're offering less commission or no commission at all. And that's a loss for me. However, with that being said, I know the market that I work in. I know the GTA market. As you may also know, it is a hot market right now. People are really buying, people are selling, and people are using agents. I would say 99% of people use agents, and they offer full commission. So the odds that I would land myself with a house that offers lower commission is not that high. Has it happened? Yeah, of course, it's happened, and I take whatever is offered. I'm not going to go and enforce needing the difference from my clients. And people say, well, why would you do that when, a buyer representation agreement says otherwise? Well, first and foremost, I do that because I'm not going to ask my clients to sign something that is absolutely not in their benefit. As a buyer, you should 100% use an agent to help you find your place, a professional one, because usually it's at no cost to you. It's the seller that provides commission. That being said, if you do end up using an agent, I don't think that you should be forced to have to pay that agent when that is not the standard of the market. So if I do end up landing a property that isn't offering full commission, well, that's just a part of it. I do find that I tend to get a return back from that in another situation. Why? Because usually the clients that sign the BRAs with me, that feel comfortable signing them because it is a fair contract, one that there is benefits to both sides, both them and me, those are usually the clients that are like, oh, we're going to refer you to everybody. Like everybody we know, we're going to let them know if they're buying in your area, or if they're thinking about buying, she's going to know the people that are really going to take good care of you. So give her a call first. And I end up making back anything that I may have potentially lost by doing a transaction that offered a little bit less than standard commission. So that's just really my mindset behind it. That's my personal preference.